We are here with Chris Justice, who is the president of Global Payments Gaming Solutions, which is a division of much larger, $52 billion market cap, Global Payments, Inc. And first of all, thank you very much, Chris, for taking the time to talk to us today.
Oh, thanks so much, Frank.
We've got accustomed to talking in our CEO Insights series to folks who are in their homes, but you are in a different place today. Can you tell us about your where you are?
Oh, you bet. Well, we actually operate out of our client experience center here in Las Vegas, and so we about a year ago built out really more of a training facility that also hosts our innovation center. So all of our products are live and operational in a casino-like environment where we've got slot machines, table games, all of our cage solutions, all of our iGaming systems, all actually operating live. The idea being we are an omni-channel provider, so we look at gaming where it can start at home, from whether it's watching a football game over the weekend or wanting to place my sports bet on my mobile application, all the way up to the physical casino environment, as well as, frankly, the rest of the resort. So we're one of the largest processors as well of restaurant and retail and hotel transactions. So when we talk about a complete resort experience, it's truly able to be delivered from Global Payments, factory direct, if you will, into all of the various gaming and non-gaming venues.
That's very interesting. I was going to ask you to begin with an overview of that, but that actually is a pretty good overview. If the topic of the year in 2020 is COVID. Can you tell us how COVID is affecting your business and how you see it working out in the near and midterm for Global Payments and for the industry?
Oh, certainly. Well, I think relative to COVID, certainly we've, as an omni-channel solution provider, we've seen certainly the rise in iGaming with what gross gaming revenues are up 189% year over year. So the rise in iGaming certainly has helped. All the while, we suffered right along with all of our partners in the fact that when they closed, we for all intents and purposes closed. Fortunately, I think we were at about 93% of all casinos have reopened, so a lot of our customers are back on their feet. And it's very different on a jurisdiction by jurisdiction basis as to the actual volume and performance folks are experiencing. But by and large, I think the great majority of our customers, at least from a gaming revenues perspective, seem to be pretty much on track or getting on track with where they'd like to be. We certainly see as well, though, a shift in the mix of player, where the typical player, maybe more older citizen, pre-existing conditions and what have you, those folks may be tending to stay away a little bit more in favor of kind of a new population that has gone into the casino. So we're certainly seeing a mix in terms of how people conduct transactions. We're also seeing, because Global Payments underwrites the transactions to guarantee the funds flow that is occurring, we've also found that we've had to change our underwriting criteria because with many of the state and federal mandates relative to what can go on somebody's credit reports and what have you, things that used to be reliable in the past aren't nearly as reliable today in terms of making those underwriting decisions. So we've had to look at tens of thousands of alternative methods to be able to evaluate folks, because we really do look at folks in terms of affordability, if you will, to make sure that we are not enabling somebody to get too far ahead of themselves, very similar to the way a financial institution does when they're looking at the risk associated with your credit card. So we've got to go through and do those underwriting behaviors a little bit differently. And then we're certainly continuing to update our systems and our algorithms, because we are seeing definite changes in trends and behaviors, and each one of those trends and behaviors has various implications on really spending behaviors, credit worthiness, and a variety of other aspects. But we're adapting very well. Unlike a lot of folks during COVID, we kept our staff on, and we continued to forge ahead on a wide variety of new innovations, and we were really focused on how the industry would look upon reopening, and we took a really serious eye toward the future and making sure that we were adapting and flexible enough as the economy rebounded and our industry reopened.
One of the things that any time of duress, I guess you could call it, occurs is it tends to spark innovation or to accelerate innovation. And in gaming, we certainly see that in moves for more hygienic environments and in cashless. What are some of the new technologies that you see coming to the industry that perhaps are being accelerated by COVID?
You bet. Well, I think certainly, cashless has certainly been a part of gaming for decades, right? With the Tito system and with the use of chips. But yet now, as we're talking about cashless, it's really taking that current view of cashless and extending it to the edges, whereby how do I get money in and how do I get money out without having to handle cash? And so that's certainly one of the biggest movements that we're seeing, not only in gaming, but from a global payments perspective around the world. When you've got 3/4 of Americans shifting over to self-service, you've got the great majority of people utilizing contactless and mobile type solutions today. That's probably one of the biggest trends that I see happening in this industry that will happen at a very, very rapid pace. I also think there's going to be an extension of self-service types of solutions. One, because that does match up to those general consumer trends. Additionally, I think all of us, operators, vendors alike, right, have had trouble to find associates to fill certain roles, right, given the pay scales and what have you that are out there. So as a result, we've got guests who are more demanding, guests who are looking for higher levels of service on a staff that is already, somewhat diminished. And so the ability to deploy self-service solutions in a way that can help you extend your capabilities to your guests without having to, generally increase the staff. I think those are going to be some other things that the industry will have to, will be looking to embrace in the coming years.
So it sounds like when you talk about being an omni-service company, that you really are talking about more than cash access.
100%. Because when you think about, if we all take ourselves out of the gaming world and we think about how we operate in the rest of the world, right? We no longer really compare the individual companies that we do business with relative to their individual competitors. We think about how they react in comparison to all of the people that we do business with. So this isn't about me looking at casino A versus casino B, but this is me as a consumer going in and saying, I have a mobile Amazon experience that has a level of commerce capability that's based on trust and credibility. So I've got a great experience there. I can go to Best Buy and talk to incredibly knowledgeable and experienced people there and get the service levels that I want. I can go to all of these various places, whether it's the application, the storefront, the web page. I am an omni-channel consumer, and that's really what I expect of my vendors. And I think that just as we saw this revolution, if you will, in retail more than a decade ago, I think that same revolution is really starting to happen today in casino, whereby, right, there's no reason that I can't be playing blackjack, placing my sports bets, checking the scores, all of that simultaneously, right? And even the ability to tap into, frankly, if I were in New Jersey, right, I can play slot machines on my phone while I'm sitting at the table playing blackjack. And giving all of us who are in that on-demand kind of society, the ability to do what we want, when we want it, and how we want it, I think is one of those things that will start to separate the really great operators from those that are going to struggle to keep up. And those that do that well are going to rapidly gain market share.
Back to cashless for a minute, Chris. You have a product or a suite of products. Can you describe how your products work and maybe how they differentiate from others out there?
Oh, certainly. Well, certainly we've been working on cashless really for the last 3 years, because it's one of those things. We see these trends happening around the world. It was just a matter of time when these things were going to hit gaming, and it takes a long time to roll out solutions that effectively work like that. Because while certainly in gaming, right, there's a tremendous amount of rules and regs that we have to be paying attention to make sure that right, we can get properly licensed and roll things out to meet all of those regs. Unfortunately, what most people in gaming have forgotten is there are a tremendous number of payment rules and regs that also have to be thought about. So we've been able to really thread the needle, if you will, on really both of those aspects of gaming rules and regs and payment rules and regs to bring those things together to effectively operate in the existing environment. So the two things that we've rolled out that are both in the marketplace live and delivering the results that we're expecting. One is VIP Mobility, which is a operator branded application that allows easy funding, participation, and cash out from the company, not only across the gaming floor, but non-gaming venues as well. So I can effectively download an application from the App Store with nothing more than my mobile number. I can get started, so I don't have an elongated enrollment process where I have to sign up for a wagering account and go through the pain and suffering of all of that, plus put the regulatory burdens of signing up for those kinds of solutions. So I can literally go in with my phone number and get started there by uploading a Tito ticket like I would deposit a check into my bank account. From there, I can easily transfer a digital voucher into the slot machine. I can transfer those digital vouchers to the table games. I can even take the money out of that ledger and utilize it to buy a nice bag for my wife to make up for the fact that I've been out gaming all night, and you and I can go to dinner and have a nice bottle of wine, and all of the money is moving behind the scenes with a very, very simple consumer experience that's easy for people to understand and very intuitive for them to use. So that solution, we think, is producing some pretty incredible results relative to increased play in a very responsible way, because it's also connected to all of the compliance systems and responsible gaming systems that are in the cage today. So we're really excited about that one. And there's some videos online that I can send over to you if you want to see them, Frank. And the other one is our VIP Financial Center, because one thing about payments that we've learned around the world is not everybody's going to want to do the same thing, right? I guess if that's the case, right, we'd only have one restaurant, we'd only have one show, but consumers want to do what they want to do. So some folks are going to want the more traditional way of playing. So we've taken our, what would be the typical legacy kiosk and turned that into a full-on financial center, whereby all financial transactions that used to have to require cage involvement can now get delivered in a self-service environment through the device, which then both of those solutions really then help to improve social distancing and eliminate lines and face-to-face transactions. But it also puts the convenience of getting money closer to the game to provide a much better player experience.
Okay, you've covered a lot of territory in a short period of time, Chris. And you've mentioned a couple of products. Are there any other products that you want to make sure people learn about this year?
Well, those are really the big two, because I think those are the innovations that are really, frankly, keeping us incredibly busy right now. The number of folks that are signing up for installation, right, is starting to pack in the calendar quite a bit. The other thing, though, that we're rolling out is just really an enhanced solution for our iGaming platform that really will allow better consumer workflows and better consumer experiences to enable folks to more rapidly engage with the iGaming business or sportsbook platforms to gain better access to funds in a much more fast and reliable way. So those are really probably the big three, aside from the things that we do all day, every day, which is just really, we do a stellar job in delivering really secure, reliable payment systems that are always on, always working.
Well, Chris, this has been a very informative discussion. Thank you.
Absolutely, Frank. Thanks for your time. I really appreciate it.